Hey, it's Adam, Avalon Auto, Alpharetta, Georgia, AvalonAutoAtlanta.com. Next up, project IS250C dashboard swap. I have never done one, so it's going to take me probably significantly longer than the GX470 dashes I have done a bunch of. Brand new dash, they are about a third of the price of the GX dashes. This one is just incredibly sticky and shiny. No cracks, but incredibly sticky and shiny and pretty nasty. And this is a one owner, 50,000 mile, 2012 IS250. Very nice. We've done a lot of work on it already. So, you know, door panels are in great shape, but this dashboard is getting replaced. Look at that nasty mess. So, they apparently still have plenty of stock on these. Part number is 554005310 Charlie 0. Those last two, Charlie 0, is going to be your color code for this black. I'm not sure how many other colors they came in, but plenty of these available. My cost was $276. You can probably find them a little cheaper, but you know, the Lexus GX ones are like $6 something. So we're going to start this process. I'm going to try to document it and just chop this up and get it done. But basically, console comes out, pillars come out, glove box area comes out. I do remove steering wheels. We may not completely need to. I do on the GXs. The one video I found on YouTube, the guy just drops the whole column, which actually looks more complicated than just taking off the damn steering wheel. We replace a lot of steering wheels, so it's not hard for me at all to pop one off. Radio, everything comes out. A bunch of different things get unplugged, cluster comes out, and then I generally put the old dashboard, new dashboard, and then transfer all the bits and pieces over, all the clips, mounting bolts, airbags, all that kind of thing. So let's get started. All right, so my first step whenever doing a dashboard install is, one, get the ignition on, not start the car, but just the ignition on, lower the steering column all the way down and out just to get the column as far away as possible. Keep the ignition on. Move both seats all the way back, and then disconnect your negative cable so everything gets stuck in that position while you're working on it, just to give yourself the absolute most room possible to get this dashboard and all the bits and pieces, console, everything else out of the way. So that's my first step. On to the next. All right, so first step on the inside, I use plastic trim tools. You can use metal ones. These come with pretty much every set of clips you ever order off Amazon. But you can get yourself a cheap set of plastic trim tools. These little pieces, again, this is my first time doing this, so I'm gonna take a lot of little steps, but they're pretty delicate. So you wanna stick it under there and then twist. Stick it under, twist, stick it under, twist. About here, the direction changes. Instead of coming up, you're coming out. So just be mindful of that. These two pieces come out. I'm just gonna start setting everything in the back. This back piece, same thing. Get back here. Probably could have reclined the seats a little bit more. Stick it in there, twist, stick it in there, twist. Pop this off. That's the same as the GXs, because it looks like two bolts you'll need to get this console out of the way. Carry on. All right, next this piece, just stick the trim tool in, twist. Stick the trim tool in, twist, pull it out. You will have two connectors at the front to remove. Then looks like this guy here has some Phillips head screws. We're gonna get those out of here. I do use multiple little magnetic trays. I try to keep the screws and bolts for each section separated. I do that with my GX swaps, so we're gonna do the same. And I don't know how deep I'm gonna go, but while you're in here, I mean, this is over a 10-year-old car. It's got a lot of gunk and grime in here. You know, if it's your personal one, clean it up as much as you can. I'm gonna wipe down some of it, but not all of it. Looks like there's some more bolts down here. Most everything in Toyota Lexus is gonna be 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, Phillips head, potentially a Torx T27 or T30. It's one thing I love about the Japanese cars. They're pretty consistent with their screws all around the car. On to the next. All right, so yeah, this piece, once you remove those two screws, it just pulls up and out. You'll have one connector to remove. Super easy. All right, these dash vents were a bugger. I had to go watch another YouTube video to figure out how to get them out. because they're not at all the same. So there's 4 little clips right at the top of each vent. So if you put these down, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you literally have to go in there with I did a flat blade screwdriver, just a skinny long one, and push these all the way down. So you see how that popped actually down versus up? So again, from the inside, it does have little grooves on it to help actually with a flat blade or something to get these to pop down. Once you get it out, pop them back up so when you reinstall, they will snap into place. But that took me a while, and I did foobar the dash a little bit getting it out. But this dash is getting replaced anyway, so I don't care. But that was a little bugger. There is an electrical clip on these as well. For what? I don't know. Maybe they're automated? I don't know. All right. Once you get the vent out, you've got just a couple more screws and then clips on the back of the radio. This little fucker, it clips in all the loom, the wires. Just lift this up with a tab. I didn't realize how to do it. I was twisting it. Ended up cracking it off, but it basically clips on to that right there. Holds the wires in place. Be mindful, all these edges, very sharp. I just sliced a big chunk of my pinky out and bleeding everywhere, so damn it. But very sharp edges, so be mindful while you're, rubbing against them and stuff. On to the next. Looks like we got some more dash bolts. Probably gonna move on to glove box area. So empty your glove box. Let me find all the screws and we'll continue. All right, so underneath the glove box, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 10 millimeters for this lower airbag. Haven't seen this before, but I use a pick tool for all the airbag clips. You just pop the yellow tab out and it comes right off. So we're gonna set this aside. Also, just like the GXs, we'll pull this side trim off, pull this panel out, pull the little side panel out. These are all clips. The undershield under here before you get to the airbag is also clips. I started separating this plastic. You do not need to separate the plastic from the airbag, so don't worry about that. There is already 1, 2, 3 screws holding in the glove box up here. Once you get this lower shield airbag out of the way, there's gonna be some more Phillips head screws. And then I believe these are actually gonna hold the dash in place, so we're gonna hold off on that for just a second. All right, so yeah, glove box is easy. Once you get that airbag out of the way, there's 1, 2 other Phillips down here, and the whole glove box will come out. You do not need to remove the silver Phillips that's on this side. That holds the door onto the mechanism, but that's fine. Pillars next, because we're already over here. And very easy pillars, because there's no handles or anything, and it's just 2 red clips. Pressure tabs, pull it out. Again, you'll have another thing retaining it here. You've already removed. Throw that in the back seat. Now, typically, I wait once these bolts are here. I'll get everything else out of the way, which I still have to remove this full console, steering column, undershield over here, that pillar. Just, again, I keep bolts separate. So this is everything out of the center console right now. This is everything out of the glove box area right now. I'm gonna have another one over here for everything on this side. I've made the mistake on my first couple of dash swaps, keeping everything in one big tray and forgetting which ones go where. It's not a massive deal, but it's better just to keep overly organized. Carry on. All right, so these door sills are illuminated, so you do have a connector on them. Otherwise, they are just pressure tabs, like most of the other stuff. Same with this thing, pressure tabs, pop it out. Pull this whole trim piece out. It's just pressure tabs all the way up. And again, that releases that clip that goes into the pillar. Easy peasy on that. Now, I'm at a sticking point with this console. There's something else connected, so I'm gonna keep fiddling with that and hopefully find what's jamming me up so I can help y'all in the future. Because I don't know what else is connected, but we're gonna find it. Onto under column. It's normally clips, just pressure tabs. pull all these down. Let me investigate further. All right, so that lowermost shield is going to be 2 Phillips head screws. And you've got a couple of 10s for the airbag thing. All of this center section you can actually take off first, and that's going to be pressure tabs that just pop out. Now be mindful of these yellow tension clips, that some of them will fall out, some of them will stay in here. So just make sure to get them out and reinstall, or it's not going to sit back in there right. And then on this little control panel, you've got a bunch of clips. There's also an oddly placed Phillips head, which would probably be better if I had just figured a way to get in there than deform this with a clip tool, getting the clip out of here. But it doesn't really make a big difference. Then we're going to have a couple more 10 millimeters to get this airbag out of the way, another pick tool job to get the connector off the side of the airbag, and then we're going to work on steering wheel, which generally will be these 2 access panels on the side. There'll be a torque screw in there. Typically it's a 19 millimeter in the middle. We'll get there in just a second. All right, steering wheel's off. Pop those panels off. T27 Torxes. Pull the airbag out, disconnect the clock spring. I typically don't have to remove these shrouds from the GX ones, but this one's connected to the surround, which you've got 2 little clips up here. What I typically do is get a short Phillips or just take this off and get in there and start loosening those clips. Let's see, where are they in this bucket? But these kind of clips, so you just pop them down, pull it out. But then there are 2 screws at the bottom of the shroud down here. So got that out of the way, steering wheel's out of the way, 19 millimeter pull. I am going to tape up this clock spring so it does not spin out of position. I always make sure the steering wheel's center, and then once I take this off, tape it up. And then we're going to get to this cluster. Haven't really started looking at how to remove it yet. So carry on. Also, this dash vent just pops out with clips. It also has a connector. Not quite certain. Well, these have connectors. I guess there's some electronics there. But anywho, one more thing for the back seat. And I think that was it for now. All right, cluster was actually very simple. There are little pressure tabs. You just reach up and push the clip up to release it. I imagine we're going to transfer these over to the new dash, but basically just pop them up on either side of these, and then there's 2 connectors on the back. So easy peasy, get that out. Again, tape up your clock spring. Ideally, if you got painter's tape or something better, this Scotch tape, it'll do its job for now, but that's what I had on my desk. Also, there's going to be a 10 millimeter back here for the dash. We'll go through, let me figure out how to get the remainder of this console out, and we'll carry on. All right, console's out. Just had to give it the beans a little bit more pressure. There is a disconnect here. This just snaps this thing together. I had already disconnected it, but didn't want to pull too hard. There's also 2 more connectors. One that goes here from the console and one that's underneath here. And then on the back side, there are 2 more connectors you'll want to separate from the console themselves. And then the whole console comes out. So now we should be onto the dash. We'll probably pop this start button out, or maybe just unplug it from the back. We're going to take a look inside and find plugs for the speakers. Any ambient air temperature plugs like this here that may stay connected. And then I'll go around and find all the bolts for the dashboard itself and document those as well, and then we'll start swapping everything over. Carry on. All right, so back to passenger side. Once we got the console out, you've got another push tab, dash vent, and then there's this module here, situated like this. It's got 3 10 millimeters and a plug. Remove that because you need access to 2 12 millimeters to release this airbag that is connected to the dash. Now start looking. There's these blocks that are pinned in or clipped into the back. Take these out on both sides. There's one airbag connector here. You've also got connectors up here. I'm pretty positive I need to disconnect all these. We'll figure it out in a minute. This one, the clip is on top of it. This one, the release tab is actually on the back of it. And then I'm just going around and confirming any other electrical connections that may need to be removed from the dash. There's another one here I'm going to loosen or release because this is connected to the dash. I'm pretty sure it's going to come out with the dash. A lot of these things get transferred over to the new dashboard. Same over on this side. There's a couple connectors up in here we released. Some other things that were clipped into place that we released from the dash. And then just be mindful, we'll talk about this when we reinstall as well, of where all these plugs were. Because I know when I do the GX dashes, when you pull everything out and put the new dash back in, I made the mistake early on when I was doing them to not pull these back into place because sometimes they'll get tucked up behind the dashboard. But now I think I'm at a point where I'm going to start removing all these 10s from the dash itself and see what else we need to do to release this thing from the car. All right, dashboard's out. There is a couple more. So this one, a little clip that's connected to the bottom piece of the dash. I think there was another little pressure tab clip, but outside of that, the little arms that go into the firewall area are just pressure tabs. So you'll pop them out. I do feel removing the steering wheel makes it a lot easier to get this thing out of here. And it's sticky, nasty mess. So this one did not need to disconnect on the GXs. It's all part of the antenna assembly. This is obviously not because it's still there. But I think everything else I needed to, we'll find out. Definitely these separating from it. Go ahead and get yourself a cabin air filter while you're here. If you've got any AC servos, anything else that need to be replaced, now is the time. So you got your new dash, old dash. What I do is get them in the same position. Slide this fucker over to it. And then we're gonna go through and all the AC ductwork gets transferred over. All these little, actually this one is a bit different than the GXs because it has all of the mounts, the little screw connectors on the GXs. We've got to transfer all these over. So interesting. Even some of these mounts we transfer over on the GXs, but all the electrical connections, all of these, we're going to have to transfer over. Let me get started on it. It looks like even the dash mounting clips are on this one. So that's cool. So it might just be ductwork and some electrical connectors and an airbag, because it looks like most of the other stuff I typically transfer on GXs is off. This solar sensor will have to transfer. The speaker, this one actually is a blank. It does not have the updated speaker system, which is interesting. But we'll get moving, transferring these over. I typically just go step by step, take the ductwork off first, see what is underneath it, transfer everything over underneath it over to the new one, because if you just move the ductwork over, you're blocking yourself in. I have made that mistake before on the GXs. So time to swap everything over to the new dash and start the reinstall process. All right, so think we've got everything swapped over. It is very different than the GX ones just because there are so many things already attached to the new dash that we typically have had to swap over. But I'm pretty sure I got everything. So be mindful of little plastic vents. The solar sensor is attached to this whole piece right here. You probably, if your dash is as sticky as this one, you want to use gloves for some of these because this material's horrible. It gets all over your fingers. But again, these pieces come off in 1, 2, 3, 4. This one goes on, comes off last, goes on first. The airbag is a bit tricky. I use I see one of these kind of trim tools, just a metal one that's got some pressure, and then pry this side up because it's got little claw feet. And so if you can get this side's claw feet out, it also has 2 screws, but get that side's claw feet out and then roll it out of its container there, and then just swap it over. And then, you know, I always take a good final look, making sure, because I almost missed this little trim piece. There's not another one here. You've got your start button, a couple other wire connections, your what do you call it, ambient air temperature sensor you've got to swap over, a couple cables that do come back to this one, the faux speaker cover on this one, or if you've got the Mark Levinson, the proper speaker cover. If you've got Mark Levinson, you probably also swap over the speaker, and again the defrost vent. And I think that's it, because I just took a good look at this one and I don't see any other plastic pieces left to swap. So now I'm going to pick this thing up and start the process of reinstalling it, getting it in, getting these clips snapped in real well. I always go up to the front when I am positioning the dash, just to make sure everything's lined up and you can still see the VIN number and you don't see any gap at the front. Again, this nasty sticky dash, you see all the stuff it left on the windshield. Imagine if I still had the steering wheel on there and had to really squeeze it over. That stuff gets everywhere. This is, you know, a little bit of a cheat code to be in a convertible versus a sedan, but hey, it's what I'm working with, so lucky me. All right, almost made a big mistake. So these guys, I actually didn't get far enough. I caught it beforehand, but these clips, these clips here, you see they're attached, but there is this second part that comes out of them. All right, and these are going to point down on the inside of the car, and we need to transfer these pieces over to these firewall tabs, so they will snap right into place. That would have been a mistake that took me a while to figure out had I not caught it just before. So it's a little easier to remove these with the trim tool just to get this little pressure tab up. But doing it one-handed. Anyway, I'm going to transfer these 4 dash retainers, I'm going to call them, over to these 1, 2, 3, 4. That one is actually different style, so I'm going to take a look at that. But these 1, 2, 3, 4 spots look like they've got these little retainers that this will snap into. All right, that was not bad, getting it repositioned and snapped back into place. Again, just get out and confirm your lines are good in the front and that all your bolt holes line up well. And then before you start your, you've got these separated, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and nut, 6 bolts that are specifically for the dash onto this frame of the car or whatever. Before you do that, make sure you've got all your wires pulled back where they need to be. Some of these clips snap back in where they belong. A couple of these plugged back in to where they go on the dash wiring that you transferred over before you cinch this back into place. Because I've made the mistake, again, I said before, on my first couple of GX dashes, that I had these wires, they were kind of hidden or tucked behind something. So, once I went to reinstall the radio, I was missing things, or the side panels missing plugs that were hidden behind the dash, and I had clamped them in. So save yourself some hassle. Just make sure all your cables are exposed where you need them so you can re-access and get everything put back in the proper way. And basically now, I'll make another 1 or 2 snippets of this, but we're just going to reverse our process and reinstall everything. One thing, I probably wouldn't have put the seats so far back in this convertible, because getting the dash back into place wasn't hard, but it would have been a little bit easier if I was a couple inches closer. But otherwise, this has taken me about twice as long as a GX dash so far. I started at 6 a.m. It is 8:38 a.m. So 2.5 hours to get to this point, and then probably another 45 minutes or so to reassemble everything. So not horrible. I've been making a video through the whole process, troubleshooting, going to watch a video to figure out how to release these clips, handful of other things. But so far so good. Let's carry on. And this is what I was talking about, which make sure before you put all these screws in, 'cause I'm gonna have to release one. This is the clip or the connector, which maybe I can fish it out for, fished it out for the ambient air temp sensor. So we want to get that plugged back in, get this hose put back on the back of it. If you do not connect this, I've learned the hard way that your AC will not function properly. Will not cool when it's supposed to cool and all that kind of jazz. So make sure this ambient air temperatures thing gets back in position and connected. Also, it'll have a bunch of dust. Go ahead and clean that off while you got it out. And then you've got your 9 or whatever bolts, or 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so when reinstalling these panels, remember your order of operations. So this airbag panel goes on first because this snap-in panel will cover everything up as far as the bolt holes. Also, make sure you plug in your start button and these things before you close this access up. I almost forgot to plug in the start button. That would have been fun. Got everything done, hooked battery back up, and can't start the doggone car. Oh, so yeah, so middle panel with the airbag, top panel. Before you put the top panel on, you got to put the top of the shroud back on, your cluster back in, the clips back in the shroud, and then we've got all this other little stuff. Before you put the pillar back in, you put the vent back in. Again, just order of operations. Try to document which steps you take on the way out so it's a little back easier on the way back in. Well, got everything pretty much back together, but I did it to myself, guys. That's why I say it's important to find all your wires. That cable for this daggum vent is MIA. So I'm gonna have to remove this radio and find where the cable is. So pay extra special attention. I forgot there was even a cable for these silly vents. And make sure your cables are where they need to be before you put everything back together. And then also this console, I may loosen back up. It's not sitting quite right here. I thought I got it pushed all the way up, but once the trim went in, I just don't love the way it's sitting. This side seems okay. That side has a little gap. I'm gonna see if I can do anything about that. Otherwise, dash looks great. Dang it. All right, guys, we got her done. So luckily that last plug, I just had to pull the radio out again and fish it out. It was over by the cluster. But once you're done, always just go ahead and reconnect that battery. Make sure everything works, because there has been one occurrence where I messed up an airbag connection or didn't clip it in, and had to disassemble half of it to redo. But so far I'm gonna go work on editing and try to clip all these things together. But this is a 2012 IS250 convertible. Again, it was fairly a bit easier because it's a convertible and I dropped the roof beforehand. But dashboard replacement looks so much better than this ridiculously sticky, shiny, oh, it's like stuck to the, look at that. Just sticks to the table, sticks to everything. Got my damn screwdriver stuck to it. Nasty. All right, Lexus IS dash removal tools needed. So just finished this job. You got a Phillips head. Highly recommend some electric screwdrivers and ratchets. Extension, 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter. I used this once, 10 millimeter open wrench. That's to disconnect the battery, and there's one connection for the dashboard behind the cluster. Handful of trim tools, a pick tool, a T27, or maybe even T30, but T27 works. And I highly prefer getting at least 4 different magnetic trays just to keep all your bolts and areas separate. And then a 19 millimeter for the steering wheel, and you can knock it out. It took me About 4 hours, but I was making a video. It's the first time I've done it. I had to reference YouTube for something around those dash vents. And then one other thing. So, I mean, you know, next time I think I could probably knock it out in 2 if I'm just focused and not messing around with everything else, now that I know how to do it. So, Adam with Avalon Auto, no, we do not offer this service, but we do, if we get one of these cars that has a bad dash, we do replace them. So, you know, we make the videos so you can do it yourself.